Right, I've started work on the roll cage section now. So if you remember from the previous update, I'd just glued the what acts as the foam head support to hold them roll cages in, and they was all loose. Putting all this into the pegs and holes, there was a bit of an alignment issue. So first of all, once you put that in there, as I've said, you've got to get this X crossbar and put these together. So you glue it there and you glue it there. Also, if you can make it out there, it glues in to there on the bottom and there on the bottom, and that like holds that all together. I had to use super glue because I wasn't going to wait 5 hours for the bloody glue to dry. So once I'd done all that, then you've got, if you remember the 3 tabs, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So first of all, you line them up with the tabs. The back one won't want to sit fully in on both sides. So I didn't glue that. I did glue it in, but then I've took the glue out, and that still presses down, because you see that gap here. I can actually press that down like that, and it will come right down. So like, that's why I've left that back. I've took the glue out of there. So once I put the body shell on, that will touch the roof, I reckon, and then that will flex down to like that, because that, like I said, the back one's loose. Once you've done all that, again, I had to use super glue. You've got to align all the other pegs. So you've got one there, one there. The bottom peg, like I said, you've got to align that. You've got to align one to the back of the wheel there. I had to take the wheel gun out and put them in. I've now put that wheel gun back in. And then once all that was done, I then got the cross beam here, the black piece, with the steering wheel column. As explained, let me just turn the plans round. Yeah, so that's that. So once before you put all the cross beams in and glue all that together, as you can see, you've got to do the steering wheel arm assembly. There's about 7 or 8 parts. That's the steering wheel, and then you've got the support beam. You've got the support beam, and that's got like a paddle shifter on the end there. You glue all that into there. 1 2 3 peg holes and pegs. So you've got to do all that. Then you glue the seats in, which I did on the previous update. But it says fix the harness into step 31. That's going to be on the back bar, not the back rod or the back tube I said in the previous update, back bar. But that's another piece, because the back bar is here. So there's still another big piece I've got to put in, and that includes the back bar. And then you've got to align all the pegs. Yeah, because once you put the cross beam in, you've got to do your cross beam for the steering wheel assembly, and you've got to glue them into the relevant peg holes on that side, and that makes all the one piece. Yeah. And turning the page around, and it's just a simplistic view basically. It doesn't tell you. It tells you to put the rectangular pegs in, but it doesn't tell you that you've got to line all them pegs. So I think there's another 1 2 3 4 5 6 pegs. No, 7 8 I think. It's just a simplistic mounting picture, and then there's your back piece on the roll cage, which includes the back bar. And then it says there, now fix the seat belts onto the back bar. You've got the dashboard as well, and the steering wheel, and the speedometer that goes on the front of the steering wheel arm assembly. So that's what I've got. There's your steering wheel arm assembly, as I was just about to explain. You've got all that there. The steering wheel arms themselves at the back, they glue into 2 holes on the front panel, just in front of the center console at the front of the car. So you've got to maneuver them, because the wheels stick up a bit more here, so you've got to push them down and maneuver them into those holes and drop the glue in. Again, I had to use a super glue, because if I'd tried to use the Revel or the Tamiya Extra Thin, I would have had to clamp that down. So I just used the super glue, held it in for a couple of minutes with my tweezers and let that dry. Right, dashboard tells you to glue those 2 pieces together. Then once that dried, I sprayed it in the Halford satin black. Steering wheel, I've just painted the inner part in black and the out part in the anthracite to make it look like foam. You've got the speedometer little piece just painted down the black on the sprues, along with the steering wheel. I've already sprayed the roll cage sprue with all that on, and then I sprayed, like I said, I sprayed and put the decals on. There's only a few decals actually on that. You've got like a gear change indicator there. You've got Neuville's, Thierry Neuville's plate with the his number and WRC on it. So you got that. On the steering wheel, which is still on the sprue. So again, black gloss, anthracite, and then you got the decal on there. There's 4 little, and when you paint the black on, they show through the decal. Needs a few applications of the microset and the microsol to get it to blend round. You might need to jab it round those raise buttons. But the microset and the microsol again has done a tremendous job. Moving that to one side. Then you've got the speedometer that sits just in front, just at the back of the steering wheel. Where's that gone? Move that forward a little bit. That's it. There's your speedometer. Just the one decal. Microset, microsol, perfect. So now that all these are done, I can actually start the work in step 31 by mounting the dashboard and the final bit of the roll cage. Right, so I'm going to mount the dashboard in now. So you've got 2 grooves, one there and one there, and those manoeuvre around the roll cage. So I've already test fitted this and took it out again before I painted this. So if I remember correctly, you've got that one there. The roll cage will flex slightly, so you put the one groove there around the roll cage, just push that out slightly, and then that will go in there like that. And then on the back of here, you've got 2 little tabs, 1, 2, and then lock into those holes there, and that's it. Dashboard is in. I've obviously got to put the glue in there, and then I've just got to mount the steering wheel onto that tiny little peg there, and then I've got to mount the speedometer. I think it's, where's that got to sit? Yeah, that's got to sit there. So I'm going to drop that in now. But yeah, that's how you put the dashboard in. Very easy indeed. Right, just a quick update. I am one hell of a hairy dog's helmet. On the previous update, the X frame, I actually glued it into this top pin and pinhole there. I should have actually glued it into the one underneath, because I've just gone to put the roof on for the roll cage, and the plans where is it? The plans tell you to stick them in those two holes there and those two holes there. Well, that one's okay, but this rear one, I was like, how the bloody hell am I supposed to get that into there? But then again, I realised I'd glued my X-frame in to the top one, so I've just had to nudge them out. I've had to get in there with my scalpel, loosen the glue, and then my clamp, I've got my nipper, and just very gently just squeezed, and they popped off. So just a quick heads up for you: glue your X-frame into the little one on the bottom, not the one on the top like I've just done. More an absolute helmet that I actually am. Right, I can happily say that the Hyundai's interior is all done. So when I'd left you on the previous update, I'd accidentally glued in the X support of the roll cage into the top one, and I've now put it into the bottom one. So since then I've installed the steering wheel. That was just pushed on to the end of there. Dead easy to put on. The speedometer, that's now glued on. On the bottom of the speedometer there's like a little square tab with like a circular indentation, very slightly concave, and it glues on to the back of there, and then on the back just in front of the shifter paddle there's like a little raised tab, and that speedometer leans on the back of that. So you put the drop of glue on the back of the speedometer and then on the actual steering rack itself to get that on there. Once that was done, I then put the glue in for the dashboard there on the two mounting tabs there and there and there. And then it came to putting the roof on. So that glues in there and there and there and there into the top. Once that had dry, then I started to put on the actually it also glues there and there as well. There's a little hole and a little tab. Once I'd done that, then I put the seatbelt ribbons on. So what I did is I undone the loop and then brought the clasp to about here on the ribbon, so it gives me more manoeuvrability with my tweezers. And then I got them through, so I looped it round there and then got it back through the clasp, which took a while because some of the edges of the ribbon had frayed, so I had to recut them. A couple of them went on really easy within a few minutes. The other ones took like 5-6 minutes to get them in, and eventually I got them on. I then threaded the seatbelt ribbons back through the holes into the back of the seat to go through the bottom. Those are just resting. They haven't been pulled tight or anything. They're just resting in there, and I've pulled them down, and they don't move, to be honest. I don't know whether to put a drop of glue to pull them tight, put a drop of glue in where they just go through the back of the seat on the hole there, on the square holes, and just put a drop of glue on, put it tight, and then wait for the glue to dry with the super glue. I don't know yet. I'm just playing it by ear, but like I said, them look really good. And that's pretty much it. The only problem is on this side here, the glue's come away from the little pinhole there. You can see it's loose. Actually, that one's come away slightly. On the bottom it's still connected, but on the tops they are slightly loose. So I'm hoping once I get the body shell on, it will squeeze them back in there like that. Fingers crossed, touch wood. But that's the interior chassis and the interior cockpit tub all done. Right, so again, that's the interior stroke chassis interior tub all done. That's all I can do for now, because the next step is going to be for the outer body shell, and I'm going to be using my airbrush for the first time, the neat and handy airbrush my wife bought me for Christmas last year. I'm going to make a DIY spray booth out of a cardboard box, and I've ordered a mini USB powered extractor fan off Amazon, but I think it might be coming from China, so it might be a week, it might be 10 days, it might be 2 weeks before the next update. So that's where I'm sitting at the moment, and we'll see what happens when the fan arrives and I can start airbrushing.